More information has been released about yesterday's Paoli shooting. We'll bring you those details. Plus, workforce housing in Jasper is a step closer to reality, and mentalist Joshua Kane is tonight's guest on Informed. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin tonight with more on the shooting at a Paoli business yesterday. State police say the shooting started as an argument at around 10:30 yesterday morning between two employees at Classic Muscle Parts along State Road 37 and County Farm Road on the town's north side. 48-year-old Michael Dale Kilpatrick of North Carolina and 30-year-old Keith Wagner of Bedford got into the argument in the north side driveway of the business. A wrestling match and chase then ensued before Kilpatrick shot Wagner in the neck and abdomen at point-blank range inside of the building. Kilpatrick also shot at a third person but missed. Kilpatrick fled from the building as police arrived on scene and shot himself in a nearby tree line. He died at IU Health Hospital Paoli from his wounds. Meanwhile, Wagner is still being treated for his wounds at University of Louisville Hospital. This was the second fatal shooting in Paoli in the last 2 weeks. The first one happened on February 10th and left a father and two children dead. A mother survived but sustained critical injuries. Two more Operation Big Brother cases have now been resolved. Yesterday, 68-year-old Edward Freiberger of DuBois pled guilty in DuBois Superior Court on two Class B felony counts for dealing in a Schedule II controlled substance. According to probable cause affidavits, Freiberger sold a total of 85 Percocet pills for $550 and 25 Adderall pills for $175. The DuBois County Prosecutor's Office says these were two separate transactions. DuBois Superior Court Judge Mark McConnell sentenced Freiberger to 10 years in prison. 2 of those years will be served at the DuBois County Security Center, and the other 8 were suspended to 5 years of supervised probation. As mentioned earlier, Freiberger's case was one of 2 to be resolved yesterday. 25-year-old Christy Merkley of Huntingburg pled guilty to a Class B felony for dealing in a Schedule III controlled substance. She is set to be sentenced to 14 years at the Indiana Department of Corrections on March 18th. To date, 6 of the 16 Operation Big Brother cases have now been resolved. The remaining 10 cases will go to trial at a later date. All of the defendants were arrested on June 4th of last year as part of Operation Big Brother. A Schnellville woman was taken into custody in northern Perry County on narcotics charges following a traffic stop. At around 8:50 last night, 2 Indiana State Police troopers noticed a blue Cadillac Escalade at the intersection of State Roads 37 and 62 in Tell City, with the taillight on the driver's side not working. After stopping the vehicle, troopers spoke with the driver, Johnny Arnett of Louisville, and the passenger, 42-year-old Rosetta Albright of Schnellville. Albright was not wearing her seatbelt at the time of the traffic stop. Further investigation led to troopers searching the vehicle, and they found 4 hypodermic needles with morphine in them in the front passenger seat, wrapped in a hooded sweatshirt that belonged to Albright. Albright was taken into custody and booked into the Perry County Jail. She is facing 4 Level 6 felonies for possession of a hypodermic needle and a Level 5 felony for possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. Arnett was released at the scene after getting a warning concerning the taillight violation. A project that will turn part of the former Jofco building into workforce housing got a boost at the state level today. This morning, the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority approved Miller Valentine Group's request for state housing tax credits to go ahead with the project. In all, Miller Valentine received just under $1.2 million in tax credits and $500,000 in additional home funds. TRICAP served as the local community housing development organization for this application. Now, Miller Valentine's application was one of just 16 that were awarded the tax credits today. 52 projects in all applied for the credits. Miller Valentine will be turning a large part of the Jofco building into 67 workforce housing units, and the city of Jasper will kick in $500,000 in tax abatements and related incentives. This project is expected to cost between $12 and $13 million in all to complete. Miller Valentine applied for the grant funding last fall. And finally tonight, Next Act Incorporated officials say things are going well with their fundraising for restoring Jasper's Astor Theater, but there is more work to do. Of course, yesterday, the group announced that they had received a $50,000 grant from Friends of the Arts to go towards their efforts. The money will be used to create an endowment through the Du Bois County Community Foundation and to purchase the Astra building. Board President Mark Stedzik says with yesterday's announcement, the group has now raised about $150,000 since starting the effort back in December. He says once the group reaches the $200,000 mark, the Community Foundation will kick in its $100,000 matching grant. That would leave the group at $300,000, $165,000 short of their $465,000 goal, with the deadline of March 31st to have all of the money raised looming. Stedzik says though things started off slowly, their early efforts are beginning to pay off.
It was a pretty fruitless process at first, but what we learned after the fact was the seeds that we were sowing in December started to pay off in the form of investments in January and February. So I think people are receiving it in a positive fashion.
Stedzik says publicity for the group should help going into the home stretch. He says the fundraising is being done in 2 phases.
We're going at bigger donations right now to cover the cost of the building and the endowment. So we're doing everything we can to get what we need done in this first phase 1 campaign, and then in phase 2, we'll open it up more to the public.
The Friends of the Arts grant was the second largest donation to Next Act's effort. The largest is the $100,000 matching grant from the Community Foundation. That grant was announced back in November of last year. For more information, you can go online to thenextact.org. All right, coming up after the break, your local forecast, sports with Kurt Guxell, and Inform with Joshua Kane. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.